Now the very first step before we begin mixing stuff together is we need to make sure the area is clean. This includes the carpet, all surface areas, because like I said, the number one reason for bad batches of beer is contaminated beer. So make sure you wipe down all your surfaces, especially if you have, a dog or a cat and they got their hair all over. Vacuum your house, clean your kitchen, and then you're ready to move on to the next step. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to measure out 5 gallons on our fermenter. Now it would be nice if this, had little increments on the side that says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it doesn't. This is actually a 6-gallon fermenter, and our recipe calls for only 5 gallons of beer. So how do we know how much beer to add? Well, an easy way to do this is to measure out 5 gallons of water in your bucket and pour it in here and mark where the 5 gallons is. Now remember, our beer is going to be sitting in here, so we need to make sure that anything in here, and this whole thing included, is sanitized. Now this sanitizer right here calls for 1 ounce per 5 gallons of water. Now, you guys probably can't see it, but I already measured out 5 gallons of water right here. So go ahead and pour your 1 ounce of sanitizer in and mix that up. And once that's mixed, what we can do is we can actually add it to here and mark the 5 gallon level. Now, if you don't have a big bucket like this, what you can do is you can just get a gallon of milk, and of course you don't want to use milk, you want to use this solution. But you can just go ahead and pour 5 of those 1 gallon things. So again, if you don't have a bucket with increments on it, you can just go ahead and use one of those. But now let's go ahead and pour this in here and mark the 5 gallon level. Alright, so go ahead and grab your funnel, set it right on top, and Joby's going to pour all 5 gallons in here. And it's good to make sure the bubbles overflow too, because you want you want the top of your hand sanitized, especially right here. There's a lot of bacteria on this part of your hand. So I'm just going to use a Sharpie to mark the 5 gallon level right here. And also the cool thing about my fermenter is I just noticed this. There's a little ridge right here exactly at the 5 gallon mark. So if this ever washes off or something, I'm always going to know where the 5 gallon mark is right here. Now, sanitizing the rest of your equipment is actually really easy. Go ahead and get a tote or a container. I bought this at Target, and it's one of those totes that you use, maybe you put it in your attic to store old clothes in or old crap, and fill it up with about 10 to 15 gallons of water, and make sure you add the sanitizer. I already mixed all the sanitizer in. So now this is a sanitized solution, and you can just go ahead and set all your equipment in there. So put the funnel in there, the thermometer, the airlock, the bung, and make sure the airlock, and if anything's floating, just make sure it's submersed. And you can actually throw your entire bucket into there. And if you don't have one of these totes, what people do a lot of the time is they actually just fill up their bucket with a solution and put everything else in the bucket. But I like to put my bucket inside a bigger tote because that helps me roll around and get everything sanitized. Now, for this sanitizer right here, your equipment only needs to sit in there for, I don't know if it was 2 to 5 minutes, but a short period of time. So even though we keep it in there for longer, it's not going to hurt. So go ahead and just leave it in here, and then whenever you need it, it's going to be perfectly sanitized and ready to go.